She announced her engagement at my wedding, so I took the mic back. She stood up in her bridesmaid dress and stole my wedding with a smug little smile. But I took the mic back and made sure she never forgot what she did. I had dreamed of this day since I was a teenager. My wedding, my white dress, my closest friends, the love of my life standing beside me. Everything was perfect. Well, almost everything. The ceremony had gone smoothly. No forgotten vows, no crying children. Just pure love in the air. Afterward, we all walked into the reception hall. The chandeliers sparkled. The band was playing soft romantic music. The guests were smiling and buzzing with excitement. I was glowing. Radiant, they said. But that was all about to change. It was during the dinner speeches that my maid of honor, Tasha, took the mic. She was my best friend since high school. We'd been through everything together, breakups, job drama, college nights full of tears and laughter. I trusted her. She stood up in her long blush gown, lifted her champagne glass, and began the speech. At first, it was sweet. She talked about how I used to dream about this day, how I met Liam at the bookstore, how our love was quiet, kind, and steady. Then she paused, smiled wide, turned slightly toward the crowd, and said something I'll never forget. And speaking of love, I have some exciting news too. There was a little laugh from the guests. People leaned forward, curious. I blinked. Wait, what? She grinned and held up her left hand. I just got engaged last night. The room gasped, some people clapped. Others looked around, confused. She pointed to her boyfriend Aaron, who was sitting smugly at the back table. I said yes. Everyone cheered, and I sat frozen. My hands tightened around my bouquet. Liam leaned toward me. Did you know about this? I shook my head slowly. No, absolutely not. She didn't even tell me she was thinking about marriage. And now, at my wedding? I felt the smile fading from my face. Tasha didn't stop there. Oh, come on, don't look at me like that, guys. What better day to share good news than a celebration of love, right? She laughed, but it wasn't funny. Not to me. Not at all. My heart thudded in my chest. I watched her soak in the attention. People were already standing up to go see her ring, congratulating her. The spotlight had shifted, away from me, away from Liam, away from our moment. And, under her, Tasha, the scene stealer, the drama queen, the one who just hijacked my wedding. I stood up quietly, walked over to the DJ, and took the microphone back. The room went silent. Everyone looked at me. Even Tasha's smile faltered. I smiled coldly. Thank you, Tasha, for your exciting announcement, I said, slowly. Polite, controlled, dangerous. I'm glad to know your engagement is such a priority. People shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Tasha looked confused, a little nervous, but I continued. This night isn't about you. This night, this moment, is about me and Liam. A few people nodded. One of Liam's cousins actually clapped once before stopping himself. I appreciate all the love in this room. But let's not forget why we're here. I looked at her directly. To celebrate a wedding. Our wedding, not an engagement. Not a sideshow. Tasha opened her mouth to say something, but I held up my hand. We've waited a long time for this. I won't let anyone steal it. Silence. Then, soft applause started around the room. Then more. People looked guilty, embarrassed. Tasha looked like she wanted to sink into the floor. And honestly, she should have. The rest of the night felt tense. Liam held my hand tightly. Guests came up, awkwardly apologizing, saying how beautiful I looked, how amazing the ceremony was, trying to fix the vibe. Tasha stayed quiet most of the night, but I wasn't done with her. Not yet. The next day, she texted me, "Hey, I didn't mean to upset you, it was just in the moment." Everyone seemed happy for me. I stared at the screen. Was she serious? We were celebrating love. I thought it fit the mood. I didn't respond. Then she called. I let it ring, then ring again. Finally I answered. "Are you serious, Tasha?" I asked. She sounded sheepish. I didn't think it would be a big deal. It's my wedding, I said flatly. You didn't think that might be, I don't know, the worst possible time? She was quiet. I just wanted to share something happy, and you couldn't wait? I snapped. Not one day? I thought you'd be happy for me. Tasha, I am happy. But you made my wedding about you. I could hear her breathing on the other end. I'm sorry, she finally said, but I wasn't sure she meant it. A few weeks passed, and then I heard from a mutual friend. Tasha had been telling people that I overreacted, that I should have been happy for her, that I took the mic away like a Bretazilla. I saw red again. So I called her out publicly at a brunch with our friends. She walked in all smiles, and I stood up. Tasha, since you love surprises so much, I said, voice cold, I thought I'd give you one. She froze, everyone looked at me. You told people I overreacted. She blinked. I what? You said I was a bredazilla? Her lips parted. No, someone twisted my words. No, I cut her off. You said what you said. I looked at everyone. She made my wedding about her. She hijacked the microphone and announced her engagement. And now she's acting like I was the problem. People looked uncomfortable. Tasha stared at me stunned. I'm done, I said. Done pretending it didn't hurt. Done being the bigger person. I wish you well, Tasha, but we're not friends anymore. I grabbed my bag and walked out. That was the end of us. I don't regret it, because here's the thing, your wedding day is supposed to be yours. Your moment. Your story. If someone can't let you have that, they don't deserve a front row seat in your life, not then. Not ever. Liam supported me completely. He told me I did the right thing. My family did too. And the people who really loved me, they stayed. They respected me. They understood. Months passed, then a year. I got a message on our anniversary from a number I didn't recognize. I'm sorry. You were right. It was Tasha. But I didn't reply. Some things you don't need to revisit. Some people you have to let go. Because I learned something that day, Dad. If someone shows you they can't handle your joy, your spotlight, your moment, they were never your real friend. They were a shadow waiting for your light, and shadows, they disappear when you stop feeding them. So I moved on. With my husband, with my peace. And with the memory of taking the mic back and finally owning my story. Asterisk, I thought cutting Tasha off would bring me peace, and for a while, it did. I focused on my new marriage. I'm Liam, I'm finally breathing again. The wedding drama became a story people whispered about for a few weeks, then moved on. But Tasha? She did single quotesy. That I found out the hard way. One morning, I got a DM on Instagram from a girl I didn't know. She wrote, "Hi, you don't know me, but I wanted to let you know that Tasha's been saying some things about your wedding. And you." I blinked. She continued. "She told a few of us in a bridal group chat that you were jealous of her engagement, and that's why you flipped out. She even said you tried to upstage her on her big moment at your wedding." I almost laughed. The nerve. But the pit in my stomach returned. I thought it was over. I thought I'd walked away clean. Instead, she was still talking. Still spinning her own story, still trying to make me the villain, and people were believing her. I screenshotted the messages. Showed them to Liam. He stared at them in disbelief. "She's obsessed," he said. "She wants to rewrite the whole thing." I nodded. She can't stand not being the center of attention. Then another message came. This one from Aaron, Tasha's fiance, acute. Or should I say, ex-fiancé. "Hey Amelia, I know this is random, but I thought you should know. Tasha's not who you think she is." He sent a screenshot of a message thread between Tasha and another guy. Romantic, flirty, recent, while she was still with Aaron and another, she'd been cheating. The entire time, he ended the message with, "You were right to walk away from her. I wish I had done it sooner." I sat there stunned. She wasn't just toxic to me. She was toxic to everyone. But then things got weirder. At a friend's baby shower, someone brought up the wedding. I tried to laugh it off, but one girl whispered, "You know, Tasha said she only did it because she found out Liam had feelings for her." The room went quiet. I froze. "What?" I asked. She said Liam used to like her, back in college. That you knew, and that's why you were always insecure around her. I stared at her. Then I stared at Liam. He looked just as confused. "She's lying," he said instantly, and I believed him. But the damage was starting to spread. Rumors, lies, manipulation. All from a girl who once stood beside me in a bridesmaid dress. I tried ignoring it, blocking her online. Moving forward. But then, my mom called. She sent a card, she said, her voice tight, from Tasha. "What did it say?" "She apologized." I sighed. "Not really. She said she was sorry you were still holding on to resentment and hoped you'd grow from the experience." My jaw dropped. Grow? She included a flyer. What? Flyer? Her wedding invitation. I nearly dropped the phone. "She invited me to her wedding?" I asked, voice sharp. "Yes." I laughed bitterly. "She still thinks this is a competition." Later that night, Liam and I sat on the couch. I stared at the invite. It was all gold foiled and sparkly. A show-off piece. Inside was a little note. "Hope to see you there. Maybe we can finally talk like adults." I threw it into the trash. But Liam picked it back up. "You know," he said slowly. "She's giving you a mic again." I turned to him. "What do you mean?" "You don't need to crash her wedding. But maybe, just maybe, you should show up." I stared at him. He wasn't joking. I didn't say yes. Not then, but the idea stuck with me. Maybe it was time to show her I wasn't the same girl who smiled and stayed quiet when she stole the spotlight. The wedding was in 3 weeks. Liam and I agreed we'd go quietly. Just as guests. No drama. No speeches. Just presence. A silent message. You didn't break me. The venue was beautiful, outdoor garden, twinkling lights, soft violins playing under the sunset. We walked in. Heads turned. I wore a deep emerald dress. Hair up, confident. Tasha's eyes locked on mine. She smiled tightly, walked over slowly. You came, she said. I did, I said coolly. You look great, she said, trying hard to stay polite. You too, I replied. A beat of silence passed. I'm glad you're here, she added, but her voice was too sweet. Too fake. I almost didn't come, I said. But then I realized. Closure is better than silence. Her smile faltered just slightly. She nodded. Enjoy the evening, she said, then turned away. The ceremony went as expected. Beautiful, lavish, overdone, even, but I didn't mind. I let her have it, let her feel like the queen. She needed it more than I ever did. Liam squeezed my hand. You okay? He whispered. I nodded. I feel free. Dinner came, toasts began, friends, family, laughter. Then, Aaron, her new husband, stood up. He thanked everyone, thanked Tasha, then said, and now my bride would like to say a few words. She stood up. Held the mic, and looked at me. I've made a lot of mistakes, she said. Her voice trembled, just a little. And one of the biggest ones was hurting someone who once meant the world to me. Gasped. She was doing it, a public apology. Amelia, she said, if you're willing to listen, I'd like to say I'm sorry. The whole room turned to me. I swallowed hard, nodded once. She continued, I was selfish. I ruined your moment. And then I made it worse. I was insecure. I was jealous. And I was wrong. Tears gathered in her eyes. I've been through a lot since then, and I learned something. Some people shine so brightly, it makes others feel small. But that's not their fault, it's ours. More gasps, more stares. She smiled weakly. I hope you're happy. You deserve to be. Then she passed the mic back to Aaron and sat down. Everyone clapped. Afterward, she found me by the fountain. I meant it, she said quietly. I know, I replied. Can we be friends again someday? I looked at her for a long moment. No. She blinked. Double quotes. No. I forgive you, I said. But I don't forget. I want peace, not history. She nodded slowly, accepted it, walked away, and that was the last time I saw her, Liam, and I drove home in silence. Then he asked, do you feel better? I smiled, lighter, stronger, wiser. He reached over and held my hand. Me too. And we left it all behind for real this time, because sometimes the real mic drop is walking away quietly. Knowing you already won, I didn't expect to think about Tasha again, but 3 months after her wedding, her name popped up on my phone. Not a message. A group chat. Help Tasha, emergency. It was a thread made by one of her bridesmaids, and it was blowing up. I ignored it. But then another message came in from Liam. You need to see this. He sent a screenshot that Tasha and Aaron had split already. 3 months. 3. At first, I didn't care, honestly. It felt like karma. The girl who couldn't stand letting someone else have attention now had all the wrong kind. Divorce, whispers, gossip. But part of me, the part that still had that ache in her chest from years of friendship, felt something else. Sadness. Not for what she lost, but for what she never learned. Because Tasha had a habit of destroying everything good around her, including herself. The messages kept coming in. One friend said Tasha was accusing Aaron of cheating. Another said Aaron was blaming Tasha for being emotionally unstable. Screenshots flew around like wildfire. And then Tasha texted me directly. I know you probably think I deserve this, but I don't know who else to turn to. Everyone's talking, everyone's judging. Can I talk to you, just once? I stared at the screen for a long time, then finally I replied, 1. Coffee, no drama. We met at a quiet cafe. She looked tired. Not her usual flawless self. Her hair was up in a messy bun. No makeup. Dark circles under her eyes. She sipped her latte slowly, then looked at me. You look good, she said. Gave a small nod. You look like you've been through something. She smiled faintly. I have. Silence stretched between us. She finally broke it. He cheated. I stayed silent. With a girl from work. He said I was too much, too needy, too controlling. I stared at her, unreadable. He said I embarrassed him at our wedding. I blinked. What? He didn't like the speech, thought it made him look weak. I almost laughed. You tried to apologize publicly. That's not weakness. She shrugged. Apparently vulnerability makes some men uncomfortable. I sipped my drink. You're not here because of him, I said quietly. She looked up. What? You're here because of you. Her lips parted. You blew up your own life, I said. You made every room about you. Every moment about your pain, even when it wasn't your moment. Tears filled her eyes. You're right, she whispered. I did, and I lost everything. I exhaled. You didn't lose everything. She looked confused. You lost the people who finally saw through you. You lost the attention that kept you going. But everything else? You still have time to rebuild. She wiped her eyes. I'm not asking to be friends again, she said. Good, I replied honestly. She laughed a little surprised. I'm asking how you got better. I leaned back. I stopped needing to be liked. She frowned. That's hard, it is. But being liked isn't worth it if it means shrinking who you are. She nodded slowly. Thank you. I stood up. We're not friends, Tasha, but I hope you figure it out. She stood too. Me too. We didn't speak again after that, but something changed, not between us, but within me. I didn't carry her like a wound anymore. I carried her like a lesson. Heavy one, but necessary, Liam, and I grew stronger. We traveled, we laughed, we argued and made up. We built a life without drama. A life without emotional sabotage. A life I had to fight for. Because walking away from toxic people, even the ones who once felt like family, isn't easy. But it's freedom. And I wasn't going back. Months later, I got a wedding invitation. Not from Tasha. From Nina, one of our old high school friends. I hadn't seen her in years, but she wrote a personal note. I was always scared of Tasha. You were the first one who ever stood up to her. Come celebrate. With people who actually respect you. I smiled. Liam and I are SVPD. Yes, we went. And it was beautiful. Not just the wedding, but the people, the warmth, the honesty. No one hogged the mic. No one announced an engagement. No one stole the spotlight. It was peaceful and real. And afterward, Nina hugged me and whispered, you taught me boundaries. Then I realized even pain has a purpose. Even betrayal can become a blueprint for how we teach others. And how we save ourselves. Somewhere out there, Tasha was probably still figuring it out. I didn't hate her. I didn't wish her harm. But I also didn't miss her. Just hoped one day she'd learn to be the kind of woman who didn't need to steal light. To feel seen. Because the truth? The most powerful people are the ones who know when to shine. And when to step back so others can shine too. And I would never again hand my mic to someone who didn't deserve to hold it. It had been almost a year since Tasha's wedding. A year since the final coffee. A year of peace, but peace has a strange way of testing you. Just when you think you've found it, something stirs the water again. It started with a mist, period. Then two. Then a positive test. I was pregnant, and for a moment, everything else in the world went still. Liam cried. He picked me up and spun me around the kitchen. We held each other for what felt like hours. And for the first time in forever, I didn't think about the past, only the future. Our future. But the universe doesn't hand you new beginnings without a twist. My parents were thrilled. His weren't, especially his mother. I had always known Liam's mom was cold. Not cruel, just rigid, disapproving in subtle ways. She once called me opinionated. Another time, a little much. Now, she looked at my stomach and said, well, I hope this makes things real for you too. What does that even mean? Liam squeezed my hand under the table, but it didn't help. She kept going. Will you go back to work? What about childcare? Is this the right time? I didn't answer, not because I didn't have words, but because I didn't want to scream. Later that night, Liam apologized. She's stuck in her ways, he said. I nodded. She thinks I'm reckless. No, he said gently, she thinks you're powerful. And she doesn't know what to do with that. At the 12-week scan, I heard our baby's heartbeat. It sounded like a tiny drum. Strong, fast, alive. I cried in the car. Afterward. Not from fear, from something else. Gratitude, joy, relief. For once, the spotlight wasn't stolen. The moment was mine. Hours. Undeniably, beautifully ours. But then Liam's sister Nicole showed up at our place. Crying. Double quotes. He left me. She sobbed. Her boyfriend of 4 years had moved out, and guess what? She needed a place to stay. Temporarily. Liam looked at me. She's family. And just like that, my quiet little nest was invaded. Nicole was loud. Messy. Always crying. Always needing. Tried to be understanding, but I was pregnant. Exhausted. And my house didn't feel like home anymore. One night, she barged into the bathroom while I was throwing up. Oh my God, she said. Are you dying? I wiped my mouth. No, I'm pregnant. She blinked. All right. And walked away. No apology. No offer to help. It got worse. She started inviting her friends over. They'd sit in the living room, drink wine, and laugh. too loudly, while I lay in bed trying to rest. One night, I walked out and asked them to keep it down. Nicole rolled her eyes. It's not that deep, she muttered. Liam heard her. And finally, he snapped. She's growing a baby. In her house. You don't get to act like a teenager here. Nicole got quiet, packed her things the next morning. And left. I thought that would be the end of it, but it wasn't, because guess who got a text? Tasha. She didn't say hi, or how are you. She wrote, saw the baby post. Just wanted to say, be careful who you trust with your child. I stared at the message. What was that supposed to mean? Liam told me to block her. I didn't. Not yet. Instead I wrote, thanks for the warning. But I've already removed all the toxic people from my life. She didn't reply, and that was all I needed. The second trimester brought energy. Joy decorated the nursery with Liam. We painted the walls, a soft sage green. He built the crib. I folded tiny clothes, for hours. Just held them. Imagined who would wear them, who we were about to meet. Then came the baby shower, hosted by my mom and closest friends. It was everything I ever wanted. Warm. Honest. Joyful. Until one gift nearly wrecked me. A small box with a silver baby bracelet inside, engraved with the words, to the most loved child in the world, Auntie Tasha. I froze. What is this? I whispered. My mom walked over. She mailed it, she said. We weren't going to put it out, but it got mixed in. Liam took the box and quietly handed it back to my mom. Trash, he said. That simple, firm, done, and somehow that small act meant everything. The baby came early. 2 weeks ahead of schedule. A girl. We named her Mila. The moment they placed her on my chest, I broke completely. Tears poured down my face. Liam kissed my forehead. I love you, he whispered. She's perfect. And she was tiny, strong. Hours, the text poured in. Friends, family, joy. Even Nicole messaged, I'm sorry. Congrats, she's beautiful. Even Liam's mom softened. She looks just like you. But I waited to see if Tasha would reach out. She didn't, and I was glad. Because this moment, this life, it wasn't hers to comment on. One night, at 3 a.m., Mela wouldn't sleep. I sat in the nursery, rocking her slowly, humming softly, and I thought about everything. Tasha. The wedding. The rumors, the apology, the drama, the fallout. All of it. And I realized something. Tasha never destroyed me. She revealed me, showed me who I was and what I would no longer tolerate. I was no longer the woman who let others speak over her. No longer the friend who stayed silent. No longer the girl who handed her mic away. I was a mother now, and no one was ever taking that power from me again. Liam walked in. You okay? I looked up, smiling. Yeah. He sat beside me. She's going to be strong, he said. Just like her mom. And as Mila finally drifted to sleep in my arms, I realized something. All the storms I'd survived, all the chaos I'd endured, had led me here. To peace. To love. To a quiet kind of power. The kind you don't need to prove. Just live. Asterisk. They say the newborn stage is the hardest. The long nights. The short naps. The blurry days. But I didn't mind. Not really, because every time Mila looked up at me, with her tiny blinking eyes, I remembered what I'd fought through to get here. I wasn't just surviving motherhood, I was reclaiming my peace, one sleepy smile at a time, but peace has a price, and sometimes, it comes in the form of visitors. Unannounced. Unwanted. It started with a knock at the door. Liam was at work. Mela was napping in her bassinet. I opened the door in my robe, bottle in hand. And there stood his mother. Flowers in one hand, a gift bag in the other. She didn't wait for an invitation, just brushed past me. I thought I'd stop by to see how the baby's doing. I swallowed hard. She's asleep. She nodded, peering around. This place could use a little more order. Babies thrive on routine. I clenched my jaw. She sat on the couch like she lived there. Then asked, when will you be going back to work? I didn't answer. Instead, I picked up Mila's empty bottle and walked to the kitchen, trying to keep calm. But I heard her behind me. She needs structure, Amelia. And you need guidance. I turned around. Slowly. Guidance? She met my eyes. You've always been emotional. I blinked. She kept going. And now with a child in the mix, I just want to make sure Liam and the baby are okay. And there it was, the quiet accusation that I was unstable, unfit, too soft. Too much. I set the bottle down. Thank you for your concern, I said. But I'm doing just fine. Liam came home an hour later. Found me scrubbing the counter. Too hard. He kissed my cheek. What happened? I told him everything. His face darkened. I'll talk to her. And he did. The next morning I got a call from her. I didn't mean to offend you, she said. I just want to help. I didn't say much, just agreed to keep things civil. But something shifted. I knew now she didn't trust me with Mela. Not fully. And I couldn't ignore that. Weeks passed, Mela grew. I started journaling again, something I hadn't done in years. One night, while writing, I asked myself, who are you now? The answer came slowly. Not a bride, not a friend, not someone's backup, a mother. A woman who no longer flinches when criticized, a survivor of her own story. Someone, someone real. Then came the email that it was from Tasha's mom. Yes, her mother. I don't know if this is appropriate, but I wanted to say thank you. Tasha's in therapy now, and she mentioned you. She said losing your friendship broke her more than her divorce. She's trying to be better, she really is. I stared at the screen. Did I believe it? Maybe. Did it change anything? No, but it made me feel something I didn't expect. Relief. Not because I wanted her back, but because I no longer cared. And that was freedom. Mela turned 6 months old. She started babbling, reaching, grabbing. Laughing. I recorded everything. Posted one short video online. Just her giggling at a toy. Nothing dramatic. Until a comment popped up. From a private account. She's beautiful. You're lucky things turned out your way. I clicked the profile. No posts, no followers, but the tone. It was Tasha. Had to be. I blocked it. Again. And whispered to Mela, you will never have to earn your worth from people like that. One night, Liam sat beside me on the floor. Mela asleep in her crib. The lights dimmed. I've been thinking, he said. About what? I asked. About how far you've come. I smiled faintly. I don't feel far sometimes. You are, he said. You're not the same woman who cried in the car after the wedding. You're stronger now. And so much braver than you give yourself credit for. I leaned on his shoulder. Thank you for staying, I whispered. I'll always stay, he replied. A few weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. Handwritten. No return address. Just my name inside, a short note. You were the best friend I ever had. I ruined it. I won't try to reach out again. But I needed you to know. You taught me how to grow. And I'm sorry. There was no signature, but I knew who it was. Folded it carefully. Didn't cry. Didn't feel angry. Just held it for a moment. Then tucked it into my journal. I didn't respond. Some chapters closed themselves. Not with revenge. Not with applause. But with silence. And I'd learned that silence can be holy. It can be healing. It can be enough. Today, Mela took her first step. One wobbly, awkward, perfect little step. She giggled and fell right after. Liam clapped. I clapped, and I realized everything I'd lost along the way led me here. To this tiny miracle. To this life I never imagined. And maybe it was never about the mic. Maybe it was about finding my voice and finally using it. Mela turned 1 this week. 1 year. One wild, beautiful, sleepless, soul-shifting year. I stared at her as she smashed her cake with her tiny hands, her laughter echoing off the walls of our little home. She was growing, and so was I. We held a small birthday party, close friends, family. Even Nicole came with a thoughtful little gift and sincere eyes. No drama. No speeches. Just love and cake. For a while, I stood in the kitchen, just watching everyone. Liam was carrying Mela on his shoulders. My mom was laughing with my friend Hannah. The house was full of warmth, but I didn't feel lost in it, not invisible. I felt present. Whole. And deeply grateful. Later, that night, after everyone left and Mela was fast asleep, I sat alone in the living room. Lights off, just the faint hum of the baby monitor beside me. And for some reason, I started scrolling back through old photos. Not of Mela, of Tasha, of us. Birthdays, graduations, sleepovers, matching outfits, inside jokes. God, we were young. Happy even. And then I saw the photo. My wedding day. She was standing beside me, holding a champagne glass, smiling wide. Second before she opened her mouth and ruined everything. I stared at that picture for a long time. And then I deleted it. I don't know why. Maybe because I was finally okay with letting the past stay in the past. Liam came in a few minutes later, found me on the couch. You good? He asked. I nodded. Then said softly, I think I finally let it go. He didn't ask what he already knew. Tasha? He said. I smiled faintly. Yeah. He walked over and wrapped his arms around me from behind. I leaned back into his chest. We've come a long way, I whispered. We have, he said. Then added, you've come even farther. A few weeks later, I returned to work, just part-time. And only because I wanted to, not because anyone pressured me. My coworkers welcomed me back with open arms, and a lot of baby photos were passed around. But something had changed. Me. I wasn't desperate to prove myself. I wasn't bending over backward to make everyone like me. I was firm, focused, Confident. Boundaries came easier now, because I wasn't afraid to say no. Not anymore. One day at work, during a quiet afternoon, I sat in the break room sipping coffee. A younger colleague walked in, clearly upset. She collapsed into the chair across from me. "I hate how they treat me," she said. "Like I'm too sensitive, too dramatic." I looked at her carefully, then gently asked, "Do you ever feel like you're shrinking just to make other people comfortable?" She blinked. "Yes," she whispered. I nodded slowly. I used to feel the same. Then I told her everything. Not the drama. Not the wedding speech, but the heart of it. The feeling of being dismissed, disrespected, overshadowed. Her eyes welled with tears. "Thank you," she said. "No one ever says this stuff out loud." And in that moment, I realized something big. I wasn't just healing for myself anymore. I was helping others find their voice. Too. At home, Mila was saying words now. Up, more. And finally one day, she said, "Mama." My heart cracked wide open. We were in the park when she said it. She pointed at me and squealed, "Mama." Liam looked at me, stunned. Then we both laughed, and I scooped her up into my arms, because that word, it wasn't just a title. It was a victory. A crown, a name I had earned, through fire, through loss, through growth. Sometimes late at night I still think of Tasha, not with anger, not even with sadness, just a kind of distant compassion. I don't know where she is now, what she's doing, if she's happy. I hope so. Because the truth is, I don't want revenge. I don't want her to hurt. I just want peace. And I have that now, more than I ever thought possible. One evening, Liam and I sat out on the porch while Mila napped. We were drinking tea. The sky was painted orange and gold. He looked at me and said, "You've changed so much." I smiled. "You make it safe to change." He shook his head. "No, love. You did that all on your own." The day before Mila's second birthday, I started writing a letter, not to anyone from my past, not even to Liam. To her. My daughter. Here's what it said. "My dearest Mila, one day you'll grow up and face your own storms. People will try to shrink you, silence you, or shape you into what makes them comfortable. Don't let them. Speak loudly, kindly, fearlessly. I spent years giving away my voice. But you were born to sing and scream and roar. I will always be your safe place, and I will never ask you to be small. Love, Mama." I folded the letter and placed it in a little memory box beside her hospital bracelet and her first shoes. Because someday, she read it, and she know, her mother didn't just survive, she rose. I took back my mic that day at the wedding, but now I don't need a mic at all, because my life, it speaks for itself.